having this conversation yet again with you all, but on a deeper level. As you know, I moved abroad and I've been living abroad for a while. And out of that birthed this beautiful gift that is the Black Migration Summit, a way that we are bridging a gap to help Black men and women who want a life of more freedom and a life of more choices and options, be able to find that for themselves. So actually, Mira is a co-founder, is like the brains behind the operation. And she's gonna do a brief introduction for herself and we're gonna get right into it. Go ahead, girl.
Yes, thank you, Sage. So, as she said, my name is Mira. I um, connected with Sage about a year ago during the first summit. It was called something else at that time, but we decided to continue on and offer this again. And we thought we could make it bigger and expand it to, as she said, men as well. I
Mhm.
love the work that Sage does. And so I was super excited to collaborate with her on this project. I do a number of different things, but tonight I am an advocate of Black people and Black women and Black men, of course. But yes, I'm excited to talk about this because it is a conversation that is becoming more and more popular, especially within the States.
Mhm.
Um, just as things continue to roll out and happen. The year 2025 was crazy. We're in 2026 and things continue to evolve. And as things continue to evolve, I know the conversation is happening a lot more. So I'm excited to have this public dialogue about it.
100%. Thank you so much, Mia. I'm so happy to be doing this together. Like, it just feels so powerful, like amplifying this with another Black woman. I know how it was for me, making this journey, and you being someone who's also on the side of getting prepared to make the journey. It's like we have two perspectives that are extremely valuable, and that people need to hear, because it's easy to see like, oh, she's already over there, it was easy, it was this, it was that, versus the step-by-step preparation that got us there. So of course, by the topic, we're going to be talking mostly about like why we move, why do we move. Obviously there's a plethora of reasons, but everybody's reason is different, in the same way. And then again, like, how do we make that a reality? How do we etch that into reality, so I'm really excited to get into this conversation, and continue amplifying like what is Black Migration Summit, because all we really need sometimes is tools,
That
just need the
part.
tools, like.
Yeah.
And this is exactly why I feel like I didn't go into like oh, I'm a travel agent, because I never wanted to be a travel agent, but I wanted to be an agent of change, in
Mhm.
people's life. And I know that you feel the same way, So again, I'm just really happy to be doing this with you. So do you want to share a little bit about your story and your journey, as far as like what even brought you to say, hey, I want to come in and like do the summit together, you being a woman looking for the tools, and like where you are in your journey right now of like moving abroad,
Sure.
airing you out.
Um, yeah, right. So let's see. I was actually just talking about this today with a friend. I have been thinking about relocating from the United States. I'm currently based in Louisiana, New Orleans. And so I have been thinking about this for about a year plus.
Mhm.
Definitely since November 2025. If you know, you know. Um, and that
Yes.
is when I very much decided. I'm like, I was honestly thinking about it before, just because there was some like national tension happening. There's always been tension, especially as a Black woman.
Mhm.
I've always experienced certain oppression and certain obstacles,
Mhm.
but it has just seemed to be increasingly more as time has gone on. And so about a year ago, I started to join like different chats and just try to gain a little more information about like what my options were, because I
Right.
was just thinking, I was like, I know this can't be the only option. Like, I just wanted to expand my knowledge and figure out, like, okay, what else can I do if I'm not feeling safe here? What else are my options? And
Yeah.
so I joined the Costa Rica group chat.
Mhm.
And then you ended up posting about the summit that you were hosting and
Mhm.
seeking someone to assist. And I was like, well, this is so divine and just perfect because I'm needing this information,
Exactly.
wanting this information, and wanted to also help and
Yeah.
assist because I also feel a call to like help Black people um, just elevate in all the ways, right? And so, yes, so I joined the summit.
Yeah.
And after getting that information, I was like, okay, I actually can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
after the first summit, I was like, you know what? This doesn't seem as scary as it was like in my mind before. Once I
Mhm.
received the tools from the first summit and was like in on the conversations, I was like, I can do this. And
Yeah.
so since then, I have been more so in a releasing
Mm.
space, just kind of releasing what I know is not coming with me
Yeah.
and making sure that I'm still energetically priming myself and preparing myself to do this.
Right.
Um, did I answer the full question?
No, you definitely did. You definitely did. We also have a viewer in the comments. Hey girl. Hey Tani. How you doing, girl?
Hello.
No, yeah, you spoke a lot of real things. The first thing that you spoke about that really hit was all what we're all looking for. She back. And that is options. We want options. And sometimes where we were born, or the society environments that we're in, they make us feel so in a box. They make us feel so
Mhm,
limited. They, like you said, it's like even traveling feels like, can I do this? Is this possible for me? We also, as Black people, have to think of other things. Is it safe for me? Am I going to be welcome in certain communities? And I think that definitely, I'm so happy that you did come, because it was just like you were able to see a plethora of different people from a lot of different backgrounds share their
mhm,
story. Some people moved with $50, some people moved with 500, some people moved with 50,000, and regardless of like what level you're in, it's possible on every level. Now the struggle is gonna be different at different levels.
right.
Depending, but it's like, yeah, and what was the other thing you spoke about? Um, about just the tensions that were happening around, and wanting peace, like really just wanting freedom, wanting a
Mhm,
place where you feel like that maybe you can expand, you can dream a little bigger and things like that. So, yeah, it's imperative that you get the tools, and it closes the gap on what feels impossible. Without the
mhm,
tools, it'll maybe always feel impossible, but when you are able to like look at how other people have alchemized their journey out of what they have, and allowed themselves to be shed of so many limiting beliefs, like it opens up like, wow, this has always been possible for me. um
mhm.
yeah, so another thing that I wanted to mention, I got one track mind. Well, another thing that I wanted to mention was, I'm losing it, but I'm happy to be again just like in this space talking about those specific things. So we're going to get into some specific questions and topics that many people have asked, over time, and that you watching this right now probably also want to know based on where you are and your journey. You know what? I found it. You
Okay.
mentioned leaving, like being in the in between, being in the major release. So many people are in that very awkward space of like the in between, the life that they once had and the life that they are going towards, a very, very crucial thing that we delve really way more deep into during the summit. But that's
Mhm.
that space. It's like you have to be prepared for anything. Like, how bad do you want this freedom?
Right.
Like staying where you are offers a certain comfortability that's really uncomfortable, if we really look at it. But allowing yourself to be in this deep shedding period is how you know that you're on the precipice of just everything that you're calling in.
Completely, yeah. It is an interesting space
Wait,
to
your
be
volume
in.
is a little low. Say that one more time. Give us a give us a thumbs up in the comment if you can hear
Can you hear
well. I
what
was
is that?
telling the viewers if they can hear you at a good level to just like give us a thumbs up in the comments or something, and if they can't, to let us know because
Yeah,
I think that the volume went down a little bit.
because I accidentally left and then came back, and then the
Down a
sound,
little bit, yeah, maybe.
yeah, it sounded like it went a little lower.
Yeah, I think on my end I can still hear you, but it is a little low. Do you want to try to log out and come back in really quick?
Um, sure. Let me see. I'll do that.
Awesome, thank
And
you.
then from there, you can, I'd like for you to stay on that topic of like what it's like being in the in between and kind of just talk about like what it was like for you. And then I'll come back and kind of talk about like
Okay,
how
cool,
I'm
cool, cool.
experiencing it.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Okay, Mira's gonna come back in a little bit, and it gives me some time to think about like what the in between was like for me. I've been abroad for over 2 years now, so that kind of feels distant, but it also feels like close to me in the same way. It happened a while ago, but I remember exactly how I felt in the in between, and I think that a lot of people that have also made the leap, here she comes, have also felt this similar ways to how I'm going to explain I felt. Hey, okay, mic check.
Hello.
It's still a little low, but
Ah,
let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
okay.
Yeah. Um, because yeah, I can still hear you. I think I set it up for it to be captions as well. So you stated that you wanted to know how I felt in the in between.
Mm,
You know what? This is such a good question, and I was just having a conversation with another woman that's in the in between right now, and she was explaining to me how she felt, and I'm like, I felt the exact same way. I think on the outside looking in, people expect you to be scared. They expect you to be nervous. They expect you to be like unsure. But I felt this like radical and maybe even a pinch of delusional excitement and
mhm,
happiness and eagerness, for the journey, even though I had no clue what was on the other side. I didn't know, but I just had this unshakable feeling inside of me that like it was going to be everything that I needed, and it
mm,
was that and then some. So that's the best way that I can explain it. In the in between, of course, I was like, "Oh my god, what am I doing?" Like I was just like, "God, you're crazy." But I knew it was just like I don't know, knowing something that no one else knows, and like feeling like I'm so happy I know. Like I'm so happy that I know that this is what I need to do in my life, even if it doesn't look right, on the outside. I'm so sure about this. So that is how it felt. Of course, yeah, there were some times where I'm like, this is wild. This is the wildest thing I've done thus far. And
right.
I would do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That definitely resonates with me. I'm definitely feeling the excitement. I'm feeling the expansion. Like I feel like initially when I was thinking about moving abroad, I was feeling like I was running away. I was trying to escape. Like I just wanted to leave the States. Whereas now it's like I'm not necessarily experiencing that. I'm more so experiencing like I'm going towards something. Like there's
Mm,
expansion out there for me. Like I could choose to stay here and remain comfortable, or I could, do something totally different and something new. And yes, it might be a little scary, but also like I have this mindset that is abundant around it, as if everything is happening as it should. And I'm not just like working with my own um faculties. I have spirit on my side. Like I have like the whole universe is like, supporting me in this journey. And so I'm glad that I can think about it from there. But I will say I didn't always feel like that. Um, but I
Mhm.
do believe that a big part of me being able to feel like that is like being aware of my options, having the tools, being a part of the conversations, joining the summit, like we talked about. I
Yeah,
was really able to see that, okay, I don't have to be so scared. I just need to be prepared.
right.
Mm.
1,000,000%. I want to try one more thing with the video. Can you turn off your Bluetooth? Maybe. But oh my goodness, like yes, information is everything, especially when you have someone that thinks practically. Are different people in this world. Some of them are whimsical and they're willing to just like jump off the cliff, theoretically without,
Mhm.
too much figured out on the back end. And there are other people who just don't operate that way. You need to know how am I going to eat, where am I going to stay, who all going to be there, and there's nothing wrong with that. These are important details, especially with making such a life shifting leap, like living in a completely different country. Most people alone or just with a significant other or their immediate family, like you do need details and more information and just more knowledge about what it all will take, and seeing other people on the other side, it does create a sense of confidence, a sense of like,
Right.
oh yeah, like I'm fired up, like I really want to do this because I see it is more possible. But before you have that, sometimes it's like, I don't know.
Right.
There can be doubt when there's like you need some of those blanks filled in.
Mhm.
Yeah. Do you feel like you have most of your blanks filled right now?
Um, I will say I do have the important blanks filled, yes.
Okay. Yup,
I
yup.
do.
What's so beautiful about this journey is that I don't think we'll ever all have all of the blanks filled. I think
Right.
that that's the point. Some of the blanks ain't gonna be filled until you get there and you mess around and find out.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, um, but thank you for your honesty.
Yeah, because I'm just like, honestly, the thing that I am, and this is a good segue if we want to get into this, the thing that I am now focused on is the finances. Like, how am I going to
Hmm.
sustain this? Because I talked to you about this. I actually did book my flight. Like, I booked my flight in December. I booked my flight in November to come out to Costa Rica in December. And I had a month in between and I was like moving out of my apartment and it was such a like a
Hmm.
crazy time and I ended up like canceling my flight because I just didn't feel at peace with the
Hmm.
decision and I didn't feel safe for some reason
Hmm.
like making that decision at that time. Um and I know that that was some like inner work that I had to do, but also
Hmm.
some external work that I needed to do as far as like just taking a true look at my finances and saying, okay, I don't want this to be a vacation. Like I'm about to go out there for 2 months and then I got to turn around and go find a job in the States. Like, no,
Right.
I want this to be like I come out there and I'm building a life, you know? So, where I am with it now is just trying to figure out how I'm going to save, how much I want to save, and then also what I'm going to be doing once I get out there to sustain my lifestyle.
100%. And like you said, that is so mature, you know? That is so mature. Sometimes people leave and sometimes we're escaping things, not just interpersonally, but in the real world, like really
Mhm.
having no choice but to try and leave and make better for ourselves elsewhere. And without a plan, I think that I think that anything without a plan leaves room for risk, and when you're a
Mhm.
woman out here in this world, you try to close the gap on those risks as much as possible. So there's
Correct.
nothing wrong with that at all. And also, I think that, you being like literally right on the precipice of making your decision, your algorithm is full of women who are already there. And it can maybe push us sometimes to want to make our move right now. But spirit is like, in your timing, you know? So
Mhm.
it's nothing wrong with that either being redirected because you might be needed where you are for a particular reason, you know? So I feel like everything definitely happens for a reason, but one thing I was just thinking before we joined on here about like living abroad and how much money you need to come with and everything. Um I think that even one of the things we were going to cover was like savings, like how much did you arrive to the country with savings?
Mhm.
I'm going to be super honest about this. I came to Costa Rica with about $20,000 in savings. That's, you know, it'll survive you a few days, you know, few weeks, maybe
Mhm.
months. It should survive you months. But I was
Right.
really thinking about how if you come here with 20,000 or 5,000, it depends on your level of financial literacy. You know, 5,000 can stretch, 20,000 can blow, you know, if you don't know how to manage your money. And I think that honestly, that was a big thing for me. You know, that was a thing that I
Mhm.
had to learn inside of it. Like even coming with those resources, I mismanaged them. You know, like you said, I'm not on vacation, girl. I was, what you want? What you want? You know, like it's like, oh my god. But in the same breath, like you said, it is important for us to be able to have something that's sustaining as well. I don't think you need to move abroad with $20,000. I think that you need to look at your cost of living. If your cost of living in the country is 2,000, then you should be making 2,500. You know, and if you have that consistency, then you will be fine as long as you don't spend your rent money. You know.
Mhm. So I'm glad that you brought that up. I want to ask you a question like, what is something that you would have done differently regarding your finances? Um,
Mm.
like when you first moved from the States to Costa Rica, what is something that you would have done different?
That's a good question. Now moving to Costa Rica, my finances were cut a lot. Like my finances, like my cost of living was cut. You know, where in the states I was paying like 1,700 for rent. When I got here, I was paying like 500 a month for rent. You know, so I had an opportunity to delegate. You know, and I would have budgeted. You know, that's one thing. As soon as I touched down, even before I touched down, I would have budgeted, knowing that because I was no longer working in my company in Atlanta, I was now just receiving, you know, a portion of that from my employees. I would have said, okay, well, this is how much we have coming in monthly. These are our monthly expenses. This is how much we're going to give ourselves, you know, allotted a month. Um, so that would have been the first thing, just more budgeting because again, I had a nice cushion and I don't know where it went. You know, because I didn't budget and delegate. It was just like I know the money's in the account. Swipe it, you know. And
Literally.
Costa Rica is the most expensive country in Central America. So you might
Mhm.
think, I'm feeling that, you know, Costa Rican, Central American air, but in the store, the prices are still can be steep. You know, the housing is cheaper, but everything else, food, activities, transportation can still be sometimes in comparison to the States. So just like
Mhm.
anywhere, I would have budgeted more. I would have had a budgeting plan. I would have looked at what the cost of living would have been like and wrote it out and said, okay, well, this is how much I have in advance, this is how much I'm gonna potentially have coming in monthly. And I would have stacked that and prepared that ahead of time instead of trying to do that in the midst.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you
Mhm.
for that.
Yeah. What are some ways that you feel like you're preparing financially?
Ooh, good question. Some ways that I feel like I am preparing financially. One of them is definitely cutting back just as much as possible, like cutting
Mhm.
back on subscriptions, cutting back on um, rent costs. I recently moved so that I could reduce rent and save a bit more.
Yeah.
Um, And I also now have housemates. And so that also allows me to save a bit more. Um, Definitely looking at different streams of income, different possible streams, not just one. Like right now, I have my full time job. But of course, I'm not going to have that when I do decide to move. And so I'm looking
Yeah.
for alternative streams of income, not just one, but different offerings that I have. And so one of them, I am currently getting my TEFL certificate, so I'll be able to teach English, as you know. Yeah. Um,
Yes.
I'm also looking into getting my yoga teacher training. I'm wanting to offer sound healing, and so I'm working on those offerings and getting more comfortable with offering that so that I can actually make some income from this when I do decide to move.
Mhm.
So yeah, really cutting back, increasing my offerings, reducing, no, I already said cutting back. I really need to look at my budget though. That is the that is the thing that
That's
I need
fair
to
enough.
do and that I will do. Um, yeah, those are the big things. And then increasing those certifications.
Mhm.
Yeah.
100%. 100,000%, because there's opportunity here, especially because there are a lot of places that, especially expats, gravitate to with one another. So there is an American dollar that can be in these realms and in these communities, that can keep you supported in your craft. You know, if you're going somewhere that's retreat based, etc., etc.
Mm,
I think that you made a really good point when you mentioned, just that, you need to have something more solidified before you come, you know.
yeah.
I always recommend that. It's the best thing. It's the best thing. Some people, they come, they work it out, but I think a lot of people say, well, we have to be making the American dollar, but they don't really think why. Legally, most countries won't even allow other people from other countries to work in their country, you know. It's how they protect their people, it's how they protect their jobs. I completely get it. And then also, with the cost of living and the cost of earning there, as an American coming to another country, working in that country, our quality of life is going to be substantially different, you know,
Mhm,
if we
mhm,
can even get a job. Probably not, unless we have like a work visa, you know. So
mhm.
we get into that deeper in the summit and everything, but it is very important for us to also, because we're moving into this nomadic or living abroad digital, you know, earning lifestyle, we have to find things that, or you know, ways to earn income that are aligned with our lifestyle. You know,
Right.
you don't want to be sedentary just in case you decide, hey, I actually want to flow this way or flow that way. So TEFL is a big key that, I'm always telling people about learning how to teach English online. You can name your price with that, and you can just have a location freedom, also time freedom, because you choose your own schedule, not completely free of time, you know, time freedom, but you can choose your own schedule. Which is really crucial, you know, to our lifestyles. You know, we're like a little more free flowing. So that is a really good thing. That is a really good thing. And yes, girl, budget, budget. Trust me,
Right.
you're not gonna regret
I
it.
so as you were talking, I love that. So TEFL certification is a big one, a big potential stream of income for someone looking to move abroad. I'm wanting to know, do you think it's possible or sustainable for someone to move and live abroad if they don't have a TEFL and they don't work online?
Mm, I've seen it. I've seen it. But these people are really great at networking, and as soon as they touch down, they have some kind of offering. They do hair, they do massage, they, I mean, I guess if you're hosting your own retreats, that can technically be considered digital because you have to have somewhere to like promote and everything. But there are definitely hands-on offerings that people come into other countries with. You know, they have like their own even unique offerings, things that they only they can do. They make jewelry, etc., etc. I've definitely seen people who are not in the digital space that host like writing, writing groups, writing retreat kind of situations, and they they make their way with that. Obviously, if that's more of like an artist lifestyle, it can be difficult.
Mm.
It can have its difficulties, but not for everyone. Even like healers, if you move to a space like Thailand and you do massage, girl, bye. you know, it's not gonna make sense. I mean, you gotta have like a phenomenal offering. But
Mm.
you just kind of gotta see what is niche in these environments and see what the offering, like the exchange, is gonna be, and see if it makes sense. But there are definitely people without digital earning that are still making their way abroad for sure.
Mm.
Yeah,
Okay.
people get real estate certifications in other countries and everything.
Mm.
You know, that's I
Interesting.
don't have one. Don't call me a
Right.
gentrifier.
Ah.
Let me stop it again. But yeah, so that was a
That's
really really good question. You were saying that you have a few different certifications, yoga being one, sound therapy being one. You were thinking of taking these gifts and using them abroad.
Yeah, definitely for sure. I also make jewelry, and so I'm thinking about all the little things I could pull out of my hat. in
I'm sorry,
addition
girl.
to, in addition to the temple, I'm like, okay, what other um tangible offerings do I have? What other gifts do I have to offer a space? And that's different for me because I have always worked in STEM. I've worked in healthcare, and
Mm,
so sustaining a lifestyle from my spiritual gifts slash creative gifts is just never something that I've done or had to do. And so a little bit of um there's a little bit of fear there, to be honest, because it's like I know how much I make working in healthcare. I
mhm,
have health insurance. I have
mhm,
I have all my insurance. I get my whole healthcare team. I'm a healthcare girly, and so I'm like, to go from that to now having to sustain my own lifestyle based on my own gifts. It's like that's just different for me, but I'm open to
mhm.
it. Um, and I feel like that's the season that I'm entering, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I'm definitely looking at all of my options, like what can I do to make this happen? And the more I think on it and I don't like put too much pressure on it, I was saying earlier, I actually do feel more expansive because it's like, oh, I actually can do this. I can do this. I can do that.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm starting to have a more like abundant mindset about it, rather than the fear, like, because it's just not serving me.
yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
I'm excited. And
100%, and you
that's
should
also
be.
something, thank
Mhm.
you. That's also something that I will say for the people in the chat to start reflecting on what things you can offer to a space and like write a whole list down, like what are 100 ways that I can make money, and just start writing things down, and things will start to come to you. Like
Yes.
you might write down 5 things in one moment, but as you're just going about your day and your life, things will start to come to you. You'll start to like just receive little like downloads, little synchronicities, little
Mhm.
inspirations, whatever you want to call them, and just jot them down. I have a whole list of like a bunch of ways that I can make money. Some of them I care a lot more about and I'm more passionate about, but I think it's good to just have a list. Like at the end of the day, these are a lot of ways that I can make some money, and it gets you thinking in a more abundant mindset rather than how
Yes.
am I going to do this?
Yeah, or I can, or this. Exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. We are only limited by our own limitations, for
Mhm.
real. And I think that moving abroad, it is such a test of self trust, especially solo. Like,
Mm.
solo, that is like you're really locked in with yourself. You're really co-creating your life with divinity, and there's so much trust that is infused in that. And I feel like with that, so much reward, and I think the same thing about entrepreneurship, you know,
Mhm.
you have to trust in your gifts, and when you are trusting and dependent even on your gifts, and your abilities, it lights fire, under you to like make it work because it can. And I feel like the only way things don't work out, or that people fail, is when they stop trying. That is
Mhm.
the only way. I always also say that we are fighting for these lives living in the states that we don't want. you know, if you can fight, if you can get up every day, 6 o'clock in the morning, and dedicate your life to this life that you're living, if it's not in alignment, you can put that same energy towards a life you do want. You know,
Right.
there's gonna always be uncertainty, even when you move. Things don't just become like, oh, I'm good in every way. There's still so many things and so many factors of life, even abroad. But yes, if you can fight for your life there, you can fight for your life anywhere, and have a higher
Right.
quality of life while doing so. The money, it's everywhere. We have billionaires on the planet. The money exists, the money, it
True,
exists. And
yeah.
we get into like those streams of like, where is the money though? Like, and we have to say exactly. We have to say like, you know I'm gonna find it. There's nothing that's gonna
Mhm.
stop me from finding this money, because I know it's out here and I deserve it, and I deserve it to support my lifestyle. We are in such a digital age, we can
Mhm.
find it is out there. It is 100% out there. So
Truly. I
that's really
love I
beautiful.
love what you said.
Go ahead.
You go.
I kind of wanted to pivot. So if your point is connected to the finances, do you want to say it before I change the subject?
Yes. It was a little it was related, but it was more of a mentality kind of thing.
Mm,
So I was going to ask, that was a really good point. One, talking about how if you can wake up and go to a 9 to 5 or clock in to make someone else's dream happen, then you can put the energy into your own dream and bring that into fruition as well. And that's something that's really been resonating with me because I'm like, I'm working my job now and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't see myself doing this anymore. I exert a
yeah.
lot of energy there. And I'm like, now it is time for me to trust myself and put that energy back into myself, back into my business so that I can help to heal the world. Like, the world needs so much healing right now. I'm like, I don't want to build someone else's dream. I want to build my own and
Yeah.
co-create this life. But I want to ask, how did you mentally prepare yourself to make that shift? Like, how did you go from
Mm.
existing within this system where we are taught at an early age what it's supposed to look like and we are funneled into a very like specific framework? How did you
Mhm.
exit the framework and decide and mentally prepare yourself to make that shift?
That is such a good question. I will be honest, I started mentally exiting the framework young. You know,
Mhm.
I started kind of dismantling the matrix all around me and just looking closely and being aware, more than my peers from a young age. So from the age I was 16, I was already saying, I want to live off grid. I want to plant my own fruits and vegetables because something about this ain't right. I felt it. I knew it. I didn't know everything, and I still don't, and I don't want to, but I just
Mhm.
knew that I always wanted to live somewhere different. I didn't like the feeling of like this uniformness. And my mom always say, like, you're gonna have to answer to somebody, someday. You're gonna have to work someday, like you're gonna have to, pretty much like bow to the system in a lot of ways someday, because we all do. And in her mind, this is the only way to live. But I
Mhm.
just felt like, nah, I can't. And it was just like when I got into the workforce as well, it was just like, No. No, I can't do it. My mental health. So,
Right.
like, I made a lot of decisions, like becoming an entrepreneur, everything that gave me a little more control over the life I was creating for myself, you know? And
Mhm.
then when I came to Costa Rica for the first time, I'd already been feeling like this, like the intensity of that pull to like leave the States coming more and more up. The more I just educated myself, the older I got, I just wanted a higher quality of life, you know?
Mhm.
And I just felt like I loved my life, but I didn't want to stay in that environment. You know, the things that I was wanting, more community, fresh fruit, fresh air, not to be underneath fake dictatorship. I mean, fake what is that called? Dem- dem- Democrat. You're Democrat
Yes.
society. I don't know
Yes.
why
Oh,
that got lost
democracy.
in the sauce, but
A fake
exactly, I
democracy?
just didn't want to be in under that umbrella. And when I came out of the country and I traveled to Costa Rica, it was like I got hit upside the head. It was like there was no way I could not move. You know, it was like the place found me. You know, everything just aligned, and it was just like was releasing control more and more. And when Costa Rica came up, I didn't hesitate at the opportunity to go. And I arrived there and the place just captivated me and it took me and it was like, this is where you need to be. And it had all the
Mhm.
things that I was asking for: fresh water, fresh fruit, fresh air, you know, community. And mentally, all I had to do was trust what I was feeling, you know, trust what I was feeling and knowing that what I've been feeling for so many years, like this was a part of that, you know?
Mhm.
I just had to
Mhm.
trust that this is what I've been asking for so long, you know? And to leap into it. This is an interesting concept that I want to share, but I believe in it so wholeheartedly. We have moments where portals open in our life, you know, and we have the
Yes.
opportunity to jump through those portals and we have the opportunity to be afraid enough to not and let the portal close. These portals are not going to always be open for you and waiting for your son to graduate college and, you know, wait until you do this and wait until you do that. Like sometimes we have opportunities in life where we can make catastrophic changes in our life and go towards everything that we want to. We could take a shortcut. Take the shortcut, girl. You know, um,
Mhm.
but we have to take them and it's such a frightening, it can be frightening, a frightening experience, but also it's like imperative that we lean into that trust, especially we feel like spirit led in it, because we're always going to be protected, you know, when we
Right.
make those leaps and not question this feeling that we're getting, not question what we want, you know, we can't pray for what we want and then when it arrives say I'm not ready, you know?
Right.
So that's where my mind was. It was like, oh, that's my portal, you know?
Yeah.
I knew
Love
it.
that.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of want to shift gears, unless you want to kind of
Mhm.
talk about your mental state.
Let's shift. It might come that might come up again, but let's
Yeah,
shift to what you're
I want to
thinking.
shift into kind of
Thank
talking
you,
about
queen.
what, yes, kind of want to shift into talking about like what things that hold people back and family being a big one, you know?
I was thinking
Valid.
the same
Like, yeah,
thoughts.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so valid. It's so valid.
Attachments.
Like women with children, people who have parents or older parents and you know, just wanting to maybe not leave their family or wait till their family members get to a certain point before they shift things in their life.
Mm.
We cannot. We shall not, you know. No
Ah,
waiting, no waiting, you know, because again, similar to what I just said, just the portal thing, you know, we cannot continue to allow our journeys to be so heavily intertwined with other people that we don't do what's best for us, you know,
mm,
like moving out of the country was the best thing that I could do for my family, because even though they are not interested, a seed has been planted. You know, they want to
mhm.
see more of the world. They know it's an option, you know. What have you been feeling like regarding like family? Have you ever felt like I can't or I don't want to because my niece, my brother, my et cetera, or do
Right.
you feel like family's pushing you out of the country?
Yeah, literally, what you are saying like spoke to me very deeply, and it looks like it spoke to Queen in the chat as well, who mentioned that she's doing this with her children. I am experiencing this right now. When I initially booked my flight, I told you in November to come out there. um at that time, I felt very strong in my decision. Before I booked the flight, I felt very strong in my decision because I was like, okay, I'm not going to say that I'm doing this forever. I'm just doing this for right now. And
Mm,
that's okay. And that was how I was convincing myself that I could do this and then I could
mhm.
potentially come back.
Yeah.
But the way that things are looking in the States, I'm like, I don't know if I'll be able to come back. And so I now am dealing with the the releasing of attachments, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Is like it's not just physical things that I have to release, it's also my attachments to people and relationships that I've formed and the community that I've built here already. And
Yeah.
so I am kind of having this internal, I don't want to call it a battle, but it is more of like an internal conversation, a dialogue with myself of, okay, I have two choices here. I can stay in the States and stay connected to help them in their journey and be a part of this global shift here, or I can do something completely different and trust the universe and go on and go forth and experience something that my soul is calling for me to experience, you know? So I'm experiencing the two things, the duality of it all, and it is very uncomfortable. And um I am now in a space where I'm just like, regardless of where I am still just going to be super intentional about who I'm connecting with at this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, regardless of the geographic location, I'm still not giving energy to the people that are not in alignment with my mindset. So,
Mm,
even though people are here in the States and they might decide to stay here in the States, I am still having the conversations about leaving. I'm still having conversations about sovereignty and conversations about what it looks like to build community and to exist outside of a oppressive system, what it looks like to shop local and support people. So I'm still aligning with the frequency of it.
yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like that is helping me to prepare anywhere I am or anywhere I decide to go, I will be in that energy. So it's like helping me with this experience of like being in two different worlds right now
Mm,
and being attached to different people. I'm just like I'm releasing those attachments. I'm not having those fear mongering conversations anymore. I'm like, how are we going to expand from here?
yeah. Wow,
Mm,
that is very golden, valuable perspective. 100%. Definitely um, leaving the familiar, especially when it's like family, which is like it's a security for us, especially if you don't have a big family to begin with, it can feel like a lot of different things, but I just love how you're already in this space of shifting and mentally preparing yourself to say, hey, like it doesn't mean that number one, I may not be able to come back and visit my family. They can definitely come visit me. you know, you're not going to another planet. You're gonna be right here on Earth. You're gonna be a flight away. Um, and also just already creating that life for yourself where you are,
mm.
crucial because that's all it is for real, that's all it really
See the
is because I know
manifestation
people
align
in
with the
paradise. I've
frequency.
been in paradise before and been like, like not feeling well. So it is about actively reprogramming yourself, actively reprogramming yourself. Um, I feel like in terms of like family and it being one of the things that hold people back tremendously. Again, understandable when it comes to parents and children, etc. But one of the main reasons why people leave is because of quality of life.
Mhm.
Quality of life can't wait. If you want to leave because you want quality of life, it's not going to do anything but amplify the life of your children. If you want to leave because you want quality of life, staying just to make your parents happy is not going to do that for you. And maybe like I did, you can inspire your people to transfer beyond these borders. It's not,
Mm.
we've been taught like the United States is the best, the United States is the whole world, you know, and it's not.
Mm.
It's not. It's
Literally.
a small piece, and there's so much beauty awaiting us, out here. I feel like so many stories of Black individuals in particular I've heard talking about how they want better health. This is quality of life, better health, being in an
Mhm.
environment that doesn't support you having these illnesses that a lot of Black people get: high blood pressure, diabetes, gout. Like when you are coming into more natural environments, if you choose to move there, or even countries that just support clean eating, on the
Mhm.
forefront, it's going to
Mhm.
completely shift your quality of life. You being able to have more time, being around people who
Mhm.
work, but they don't center work. They center
Right.
community, they center like just being able to go to the beach and relax with their family. Like they don't center the job. It shifts your mental health. I know a lot of Black women in particular who
Mhm.
have moved abroad because they've been like, I got on the precipice of losing my shit, and I had to come back. And you
Right.
can't heal in the environment that made you sick, no matter how long you decide to wait, no matter how much money you make. Your life,
Right.
we don't ever really know how much time we have. So prolonging prolonging a better quality of life. I mean, it could just be Canada. You ain't got to move all the way to Thailand. Wherever you feel called, get there. Get there so you can start being the individual that you are deep down when you're not like being weighed down by so much of the societal pressure to work, to
Right.
perform, etc., etc.
To hustle.
Yeah, do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh, that was incredible. So much of what you just said resonated with me. Especially the part about the health, because I mentioned earlier I'm a healthcare girly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I live a plant-based lifestyle. I am very picky about the things that I eat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at the ingredients. I'm looking to see what additives are being pumped into the foods, pesticides. I'm looking at all the salt content, the fat content, the sugar content,
Mm-hmm.
and it is in a lot of our foods. This is allowed through the FDA, right?
Yeah.
This is not this is not truly regulated the way that it should be, which is why America has such high cancer rates, because I don't we don't have to get into all of big pharma and the system that
Yeah.
is has been created to keep us sick. I want to spin this into what I've seen to be true for other Black women families that have traveled to other countries. I've seen, I don't know, I can't remember her name, but there's a Black woman who talked about her being sick in the States. She had some sort of like chronic illness, and she ended up moving away with her family, and I really feel like it was cancer. I'll have to look it up for sure. But she ended up moving away. I can't remember where she moved. I think it was something like Costa Rica though. It was like coastal and it was tropical. And she was talking about just her lifestyle shift, and she's not sick anymore.
Wow.
Like completely, I believe it was cancer, and she was completely in remission and has not experienced any. sickness since then, no symptoms. All of her symptoms have been resolved, and she is now
Wow.
feeling better. And her cancer has been in remission since. And I remember seeing that story, and it just really resonated with me deeply because I'm like, being so aware, like hyper aware of the food industry here in the States and being aware that this is just not the norm for other countries.
Yes.
Yet we have been, I don't want to say brainwashed. I'm trying to
Lied
find a
to.
better word.
No, all of it.
But
All of
we
it.
have
They
been
putting
lied
the
to.
brainwashing chemical in the food.
Truly, we have truly been lied to, and we have not been taught how to read food labels. We just
Hmm.
eat we just eat things to feel good
Yeah.
collectively here in the States. And so it's not, we don't question what's being put in our foods. We don't question a lot of these things. We just eat for pleasure. We just eat just
That's
to
true.
eat, not for health,
Yeah.
but just to feel good, just to enjoy the food, which is that's
Hmm.
important too. But I appreciate how in other parts of the world you are also still eating for health. Like
Yeah.
the country itself is set up in a way that is still supportive of citizens' health.
Yeah.
Like they aren't allowing certain additives, they aren't allowing certain dyes to be put in foods. It's illegal,
Yeah.
as it should be, you know.
Why is
Um,
there yellow 40?
right, red dye. Like why
Yeah.
the deli meats, number one carcinogen, or a class one carcinogen. Like this is so interesting to me how studies are coming out now, documentaries are coming out, and people are aware of this and still eating it. Like because it's so heavily ingrained in the culture now
Yeah.
that even if you have the knowledge, you are still, it's like something,
Isn't clicking.
something up. Yeah, you are, wait, what did you say?
It's not clicking.
Ah, no, literally, it's like almost still like there's a wiring happening that is like, well, it's too expensive to eat this, or it's like I don't know what to eat, or I just,
Hmm.
it's just a lot of not knowing.
Yeah.
And
And no
I
excuse in this day and age.
right, right
Honestly.
in the age of information. Hi, more.
Hey girl, how are you? Queen said something funny. She was like, another continent is another planet to some people. Honestly, yes. Yes. Hey girl. She said, I'm over
It
here having
is.
a long time in Thailand. Shout out. Thank you so much for showing up. She said her astrocartography. Showing up loud. No, for real.
My
Astrocartography
line
talks
runs through
about like
Costa
where you
Rica.
live in the world and how it's like
Mhm.
aligned to your life, like what you want to do in life. Sometimes it could be aligned to tell you it's the best place for you to work, best place for you to find love, best place for you to just come into your power, etc. So it's a very
Period.
interesting thing. My line went right through Costa Rica and
Mine
Detroit, which
does
is where I'm from.
too.
Yeah, really?
My
Yeah.
one of my like my spirituality line, something that is like focused on
Mm.
spirituality, goes through Costa Rica around the area where you
Yeah.
are. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So as we're getting ready to wrap up a little bit, I want to ask you personally, what are the top three reasons why you feel the need to move abroad, the desire?
Thank you for posing that. The top three reasons. I would say one is to
Repeat that one more time.
experience. I would say one is to just experience something differently. Like I
Yeah.
know what I have been taught and ingrained to believe is not fully true.
Mhm.
And so I'm feeling called to just explore and experience truth for myself.
Yeah.
Another reason is to remove the distractions,
Mm.
because here in the States it's very loud, It's very chaotic a lot of the times if you are aware of what's going on
Yeah.
within the country. And that's not a mistake. That is on purpose
Yeah.
why there is so much chaos and distractions happening. And I would like to just be a bit more removed from that
Yeah.
for my own peace and mental clarity.
Definitely.
And so to experience something differently, to remove distractions and experience increased peace,
Mhm.
like not just the inner peace I've cultivated, but also see it reflected, you know.
Environmental peace,
Yeah.
exactly.
Um, and also just to be surrounded by a community of people, of beings who no longer want to just put their heads down and do what they're told to do,
Mm.
basically. You know,
Mhm. No, 100%.
like
That's
I don't want to be
beautiful.
the only person with this mindset. And I know I'm not, but I want to be surrounded physically by those beings who are like, we are changing the world together.
Yeah, when I moved abroad and realized that I was surrounded by other black sheep, I like finally felt comfortable for the first time in my life because
Mm.
I feel like, oh, all the black sheep are moving abroad, but it's like all the conspiracy theories, we're all in the same group now. I love it, Ted. But it's like, yeah, all those who are aware, all those who are knowing. Of course, there are people who are knowing and aware and intelligent in the states, as well. But it's like, yeah, I definitely felt like I found my people when I was able to leave and go and do things that were unorthodox to people around me where I came from. So I hear so much expansion, in everything that you're saying, and you're just like, I want to be expanded. I want to see something new. I want to experience and live this life, on your own terms. And I think that that's so admirable. And I know that so many black and brown people can resonate with that fully, because
Mhm.
this is the bare minimum,
Right.
this is the bare minimum. I feel like for me, what were my reasons? Community was absolutely a huge part of that. Like you mentioned too,
Mhm.
being surrounded by the right people, not feeling crazy, not feeling limited, and
Right.
supported. Supporting people,
Mhm.
being around people who support you and your vision and your evolution. That don't want you to be the same. That
Mhm.
push you up in your growth. Um, Higher quality of life, like I said, related to the health, mentally, even financially, you can be healthier, in another country, um, with a lower cost of living if you get your funds balanced right, and yeah, the lower cost of living, the lower cost of living and the
Mhm.
higher quality of life and the community, all of that together is exactly why I found myself out here. But what I'm learning and what I'm gaining is so much even further beyond that. The woman I'm
Mhm.
becoming by trusting myself, like we talked about,
Mhm.
is more than I could have ever asked for and imagined. But I don't know if I don't know how long it would have taken me to get to what I'm stepping into and all the things I'm creating, all the things I'm doing if I didn't take that step, you know? It doesn't
Mhm.
always have to be moving abroad for everybody, but whatever it is, we have to go towards it. Whatever's calling us to a more authentic version of ourselves and a better lifestyle, we have to pursue it.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
love that. I have a final question for you,
Please.
actually. Yeah, it is somewhat related. Um, but that's beautiful. The community, a higher quality of life. What was your third one? Community,
You said community,
lower
high
cost of
quality of life, and
living.
lower cost of living.
Yeah, and I love how you did that and you received all of that. Like the things that you were seeking, you are now being able to experience
Yeah.
in your new timeline. That's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah,
I
of
see your eyes as
course.
soon as you read the comment. You're right. You're right.
Right,
You're
right.
crazy.
So, but my question to you is, what advice would you give to someone who is merely thinking about living abroad? They have not made any real decisions. It's just kind of an inkling, a seed
Yeah.
being planted. How would you encourage them to nurture that? What advice would you give to them?
Mm. The first thing that came to my mind was have them go deeper into and get clear on their why. You know, what is
Mhm.
your reasoning? You think you want to move abroad? Why do you want to move abroad? Because that can crack open so much. And I think that yeah, people can move abroad because they want to pay cheaper rent, but also the people who actually make the leap, I think that they're thinking a little deeper about it. They're wanting some shifts internally to occur. This is going to happen regardless. Like it takes a certain kind of person to be expanded so radically to put themselves in an environment so different than what they're familiar. And I would just say get acquainted with your why so you can always return to it as well. Like while you are in the middle, in the beginning, towards the end, made the leap.
Yeah.
Even when I got abroad, I still had to sometimes go back and say, what is my reasoning for doing this? Why am I here? What am I doing? So
Yeah.
I would say get acquainted with the why and wait until you're sure about your why, your reasoning before you announce it because everybody's not going to have the same vision and thoughts and ideas as you. You might feel like it's the most grandest idea you've ever had, and you don't want it to get shot down in its early stages. You are
Yes.
right, you are genius, but you have to hold on to that and fully nurture it before you probably share it. Yeah,
Mm.
I learned that one from you
Thank you so much.
because I was like,
Right,
guess
right,
what, girl? I was ready to tell the whole community I would leave it, girl. But
right.
yeah, definitely. Thank you for
I
asking me that
love
question,
that.
Mira. What is
Of
one thing that you're
course.
excited about for the Black Migration Summit coming up March 27th to the 29th?
Ooh, one thing that I am excited about. Hmm. I
You
feel
want
like
me
I have a few things.
to? Okay,
Huh?
go, go.
Wait, what?
I was like, you want me to go?
Okay, you go first, and then I'll
One
say
thing I'm
mine.
excited about. I'm most excited about helping people remember who the hell they are. you know,
Period.
like because
Yes.
it's not me, and of course the tools, the information is going to be crucial, substantial to people actually making the leaps. But I look forward to reminding people that they were always able to. They always had the power to make the decisions, and like yeah, just helping them helping their confidence return in themselves,
Mhm.
and building community
Um,
along the way. I love building community along the way.
yeah, I love that so much.
Mhm.
Um, because even with the first summit, um, that you hosted, I definitely was able to remember who I was and what I was capable of, and that
Mhm.
my power ultimately came from within. I felt very
Mhm.
empowered
Yeah.
by the first summit. And so I will say, yes, I'm excited about the first thing that came to mind was I was excited to learn about the different pathways that everyone took
Yeah.
and just to learn about different ways to sustain the lifestyle since that is the thing that I'm deeply reflecting on now.
Mhm.
um Different ways to make money, but also I'm just excited about all of the conversations that are going to take place and like
Yeah.
all the little gems that are going to be dropped, just because when you put brilliant minds together, when you put people together who have experienced similar things or who are even just meditating and reflecting on the same things, you typically can just expand on ideas and amplify energies in different ways. And so I'm just excited to hear like what everybody has to bring to the space and how people are going to be inspired by what they receive.
100%. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. No, I love that. I love that so much. Well, I'm extremely excited. Again, the Black Migration Summit is opening. The initiation, the portal for the tools are opening again March 27th to the 29th this year, this March that we're in right now. And it's going to be filled with so many beautiful minds, like Mira said, so many people who've made the leap already and can give you the information that you need to close the gap. We're just trying to build the bridge, so you can do the walking yourself. And there are going to be so many individuals with their own tools, with their own businesses and everything like that to assist you, further assist your journey. So on top of that, if you are joining Sage Society, we have this community as well, where it's just like the girls are in the chat. And I love that too, because it's a way to like just feel a community of women that are literally global. You can build community wherever you are. So if the community is what you're looking for, even more than the moving, hit the chat. Go and like join our collective. But if you already know, I'm ready. I'm just trying to figure out the how, the when, where. We are gonna support you with that. And I'm so excited to be doing it with my girl.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, do not hesitate to hit me up. My Instagram is the Sage Monroe, and you can also find me at Sage Monroe Management at Gmail. That's kind of long, but find me there. Mira,
You want to type it in the chat?
I don't think I can type in the chat. It's so weird, but I try to click it and I didn't see
Oh,
nothing.
actually, no, I can't. Sorry.
Oh, I could have had retouch on the whole time. Hold on. I didn't need it. Oh my gosh. But thank you all so much for joining us for this live of why we are making these decisions and how it's going to become a reality. Please definitely do tune in and check in with us. You can also hit me up via the channel as well. And I look forward to seeing y'all in our next live. See
Good
ya.
night.
I don't know how to log off. It's not Sage Monroe. Oh, wait.